Hey everyone, this is Corey with Casual EDC, and today we're going to be doing a quick review of the Spyderco Spydiechef. This here has been recently in history an iconic Spyderco design, a Marcin Sleesh design. You're looking at an overall length of 7.78 inches with a blade length of 3.32 inches. Full flat grind, pretty thin blade stock at 0.11 inches. Anything under 0.12, really 0.125, which is an eighth of an inch, I consider to be pretty thin. So nice thin stock on this with a thin flat grind. 3.78 ounces overall, titanium handles, coated hardware, and of course you have an LC200N blade. Now this is called the Spydiechef because it's supposed to resemble a chef's knife. It's supposed to be a folding knife for the kitchen, and the reason for all titanium and the coated hardware is so it is completely rust proof. LC200N is essentially rust proof. It takes a lot to get any type of corrosion on this knife, so you are going to really struggle to really mess this up during food prep, which is why they went with LC200N, and it's a pretty good steel overall. It's definitely not too shabby. This is my first experience with it, and I was actually very happy with it. It held an edge for a pretty long time through cardboard, and one quick strop brought this edge back to life. Sorry, you're gonna hear dogs barking. You might see that the setup here is a little different. That's because my girlfriend and I are dog sitting right now, so we're at a different house, which means I don't have my normal size comparison stuff, which is why I gave you all the specs right up front. Real quick, the only thing I don't have for size comparison is the painted trapper. So that is that. It's a medium size knife. I would say it's slightly pushing the larger side just because of the shape of the blade. It makes it feel long, but like I said, just over 3.3 inches. So definitely not all that big. Anyway, so Spydiechef, the design is designed this way so you can reach a cutting board. You can wrap your fingers around. Really what you want to do is be in a pinch grip, like you'd be holding a chef's knife, where you have your pointer finger up on the blade and your thumb right at the top of the handle. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but basically when you're in this grip, the whole blade can make contact while your hand's still out of the way. I can get my fingers on, just my fingertips on it. I have plenty of control. I can almost hit a cutting board with the whole edge. I pretty much, with my fingers, I hit from like right here down. I can roll pretty easy. And if I want that heel, I can just back my hand off and pinch on the pocket clip and here. And that's still plenty of control to be cutting stuff. And speaking of cutting things, as I mentioned, I might have mentioned anyway, I did cut some cardboard with this. It did really well. It's a flat grind. It comes to a fairly thin edge. It's actually not the sliciest edge or the sliciest knife in the world, but most chef's knives aren't crazy thin behind the edge. They do thin out quite a bit because the blades are normally so tall. You might have stock this same thickness, but the blade comes all the way out to here, which makes for a thinner edge, but Spyderco did a pretty good job on this one, getting that edge thinned out. So this actually cuts really well. I cut a bunch of carrots with this. We have two puppies at home. You hear the one barking in this video. And they love carrots. It's a good little treat for them. So cutting those up for them, they really enjoyed that. And I just used this knife just about an hour ago to cut up a steak. We bought a real thick steak, so I just cut it in half. And we made that for dinner. So it cut really well through meat, through carrots, through cardboard. I'm trying to think if I cut anything else. I did a little chiffonade with some basil leaves, which is basically you stack a bunch of leaves on top of each other, roll them up really tight, and then you use a bit of a rocking motion like this to cut very thin slivers of basil. So I did that as well, just for fun. Overall though, I like this knife. Just getting into the conclusions here is that I found a Spyderco that I like. There's some things I don't like about it, that's for sure. I am not a fan of this area up here underneath the lock bar. As a righty, this corner right here in front of my finger is sharp. and it digs into the knuckle here just a little bit. And I did borrow this. This is on loan from Alex. Alex, thank you very much. And if you can see these marks right here, Alex is left-handed. And I think this is be a really good knife for a left-handed person because you have the Spidey hole, so it's ambidextrous. It's a very easy middle finger flip. I'm not very ambidextrous. I can do pretty, I shouldn't say that. My fine motor skills left-handed are are very subpar compared to my right hand. I can write right-handed. I really struggle to write left-handed, but I can throw a ball and I can do other things like that left-handed pretty well. But you can see operation of this is just fine. And because there's no lock bar cutout, this area is not as sharp because it doesn't have that cutout coming up to it. So wrapping your hand around, it doesn't dig in nearly as much. And even if I had the pocket clip on that side, I can see this being really, really good ergonomically for a lefty. It's fine for a righty. It's just not great. I really feel that area in my pointer finger. Other than that though, it was fine. It fits the hand pretty well, as you can see. And that's pretty much my only gripe with this. This has been easy to middle finger flick and a thumb flick and pointer finger flick and whatever you want to do with a Spyderco. This is running on washers, not bearings, especially if you're going to be doing food prep. Bearings are not a good idea. You just don't want to get like fruit juice or something like that up in the bearings and bind them up. But a nice smooth washer action. I wish it closed a little easier. It have to go pretty far. Right here is where you actually have to get off the detent ball. Once you pass that point, you can close the knife, but you can probably hear it. Listen. That was the detent ball clicking up onto the blade, and you can see it move like that. So I wish that the lock bar was either a little higher or the blade tang was just a little smaller, so that lock interface and where this little clutch area was a little bit reduced. But it's not something to worry about too much. My hands being somewhere between a medium and a large, mostly I would wear a large size glove. I can squeeze into a medium if needed, but definitely a large size. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me to shut this, but I can really get the right angle on it and it's not a big deal at all. So I'm not counting that as anything bad against this knife because overall I did really enjoy it. This blade shape works really well for slicing because as you push and turn your wrist, you are continually using fresh edge. You're not dragging the same areas, especially the area with the opening hole, through material. So there's nothing to get nothing to snag on and get caught on, is what I was trying to say there. But yeah, overall, I was impressed. For my first impressions were pretty negative of this, honestly. I thought the detent was weak, and I didn't like the way it closed, and it wasn't comfortable in my hand. And then I used it, and I used it some more, and I carried it for the last week, and I actually really like it. I don't see myself buying one of these because it's such a niche application. It's cool. It's a neat design. LC200N would be nice to have somewhere in the collection. As you guys know, I really don't keep much of a collection. I have more now than I have recently, but if I want to do minor food prep stuff, I can use a Pena Trapper. I can use my Benchmade Bug Out, my TRM Atom. So I don't have a need for this personally. It didn't blow me away enough as an EDC knife to go out and buy one of these. But this is something that if I was working in a kitchen more often and I needed to do quick cuts in the kitchen or something like that, this would be a great tool to have. For me to not have to worry about wiping my blade off and cleaning it, that's a really nice thing. And I've done prep work in kitchens and things like that in the past. And having the convenience of using something like this, because you don't always need a 5, 6, 8-inch chef's knife. You don't always need that. So to have the ability to just chop, cut, slice, dice, do whatever, and then fold this up and put it in your pocket and not worry about it staining or rusting, that's really nice. And I think if you're somebody who does work in the food service industry and are in the kitchen and are doing lots of prep work, this is an invaluable piece of equipment. It's $234 and some amount of change on Blade HQ's website. I'm sure you can find them a little cheaper elsewhere, and definitely you can find them around $200 used, sometimes even under that. It's a nice piece. I'm going to keep rambling on about it here, so I'm going to wrap up the video, but I actually did enjoy this, and I don't typically enjoy Spydercos. I have in the past, and then they kind of fade on me, and then I don't like them. I don't think I'd fall out of love with this one. I think I would continue to enjoy this for the entire time that I had it. So that's going to wrap up this quick review here of the Spyderco Spydiechef. I hope you guys found it informative, and at the very least, if you share some opinions with me, let me know, because this is probably a polarizing knife, I would think, because it is a niche design and a niche application for its intended purposes anyway. Lots of people EDC this and love it. So let me know your thoughts about the Spydiechef in the comments. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.